The F1 circus has arrived in Spa-Francorchamps, where Zak Brown has confirmed that he will remain the team principal of McLaren Santander. Zak wanted to correct his mistakes and as a leader, and he wants to try and bring everyone together. There's been so much speculation since the external investigation happened against McLaren as to whether Zak Brown would stay as the team principal. Remember, Zak Brown was actually in favour of everything that Mark Davis was saying with regards to his case, and people were starting to get very frustrated with Zak, not only as a team principal, but also as a person. And this is definitely where everything has been laid to after his press conference, with many still unsure if Zak should really lead the team. Is he genuinely the man that can correct his own mistakes, and is there anything that Zak Brown has done which he's still not telling people? Well, one thing that he hasn't told, well, anyone or in general had a conversation with, is Sam, because after that press conference, Sam has said that Zak still hasn't spoken to him after the investigation was concluded, and Sam was showed to have not assaulted Mark Davis after the Las Vegas Grand Prix last season. Obviously, Zak had banned Sam from the McLaren Technology Centre and said that Sam would never be able to drive for McLaren ever again after he backed Mark Davis in his claims for assault after that weekend. And of course, now that it's been shown that Sam didn't do that, Zak Brown, you would have thought, would have apologised and tried to make things up with Sam, but as things stand, he hasn't actually spoken to him. And many are still worried about this internal investigation. So while we obviously have confirmation that Mark Davis did actually make up the lies of being assaulted by Sam, the one thing that people are still concerned about, which is where the whole Zak Brown stays as team principal thing is causing some issues, is that of course there was CCTV within the garage that was stolen at the point of the Grand Prix itself. So we still don't know who stole that CCTV footage yet. We still don't know if Zak Brown knew that the CCTV was taken yet. And there's still so many questions within the team that are not being answered that for Zak Brown to say that he's going to correct his mistakes, stay as team principal and keep going forwards doesn't really sit well with many people, because right now there's still so many things that haven't been settled yet. So what a lot of people are suggesting, which is something that Zak Brown has shut down, is that for Zak Brown to step down as team principal until the investigations are over and then take it from there. But that's something that Zak is not interested in doing, and it looks like he's going to do what he can to stay in power, but the question is his time at power coming to an end? Now, taking a look at the race news heading into this weekend, Ferrari and Porsche were the two fastest teams in practice. It's starting to become a little bit of a trend now that Ferrari and Porsche are the two teams to beat throughout the course of the remainder of the season, with their pace definitely being a little bit stronger than the rest. But that doesn't mean that the rest are going to sit back and let Ferrari and Porsche take a little bit of an advantage. As you can see, McLaren are continuing their strong run of form from the last round at the Portuguese Grand Prix and are going to try and unsettle the pack once again. What is going to unsettle the pack is going to be yet more rain that is set to head to the track this weekend, and that's going to make making a setup for this race very, very difficult. The Spa-Francorchamps circuit is already a very difficult track to get a setup correct for. You're never actually going to get a perfect setup, with obviously the straight lines of Sector 1 and 2 mixed in with all of the tight and twisty corners of Sector 2. So it means that you either put a bit more downforce on, so you're quick in the middle sector, but it's going to hurt you in a straight line, or you put more straight line speed on, and that's going to hurt you in the middle sector. It's one of those where you just have to see what is the best compromise, but if there's rain in the air, that might try and tilt people to a different style of setup. Renault are impressing on long runs going into the Belgian Grand Prix. This is a track where Renault were very much looking forward to. Of course, Renault have definitely got a decent package all round, but they do excel a lot more when the tracks are more high speed. And with Belgium being a more high speed circuit, this is definitely going to favour them a little bit more. And finally, Mercedes are having mixed feelings for this race, with Kimi Antonelli definitely seeming to find the sweet spot with the Mercedes on this track, whereas Lewis Hamilton is definitely struggling on this track. As things stand at the moment, Mercedes have said that Hamilton has been doing more setup testing this weekend to see whether their wet weather setup would work better on this track. So they say that while Hamilton is struggling for now, they hopefully don't expect it to happen in the race. But as for Lewis Hamilton, he says that he's just not happy with the car around this track, and for Antonelli, he says that he seems to have found something that works for him, and so far, so good. But let's find out who's going to go on to pole position and ultimately win the Belgian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Foxydude here, and welcome back to a brand new video, another episode of the F1 journey for you guys today here on the channel. We are back for the Belgian Grand Prix. This is round number 14 of the season. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, feel free to drop it a like. And if you're new around here as well, and you do enjoy all the content that you see here on the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button as you never get to miss any one of my videos, and it's absolutely free. As you can see though, we start things off with our banker lap, which was pretty useless, and now we're going to go ahead for a full flying lap here around Spa-Francorchamps to see if we can get a decent lap time on the board. So going through towards La Source then, we actually had a decent run through La Source, but we actually went a little bit too wide on the exit there and just clipped the sausage curb. Probably lost me a little bit of time through there, but obviously on my banker lap, I don't actually use overtake on the battery, whereas you can see here, I am now starting to use it. So as we go down the Kemmel Straight now, you can see that we're making up a lot of time here. Already half a second up, albeit into the first sector, and now in towards Le Com, just about missing the apex there on the entry, but we managed to get the rest of the corner absolutely fine there, so not too bad as we now make our way down into the heart here of the middle sector now on the track here, dropping it into fourth, letting the car run out wide there onto the curb, and now into the corner with No Name, and now we can continue on our blast down towards Pouhon, a lovely corner here, just dropping it down into 7th before then upshifting into 8th. I just feel like when I go in, stay in 8th gear, I just lose a little bit too much speed and momentum, so we're just going to keep it where we are now. And you can see here that we're over 1.1 seconds now faster than our previous best lap here, so we're doing a great job as things stand. Into Stavelot 1, and then on the exit of that into the next part of Stavelot here, absolutely flat out, and now down on the straight here, 1.6 up on our personal best lap, so we've got a lot of pace now in the car here. We've got one of the McLarens in front of us, so we're just going to go past him nice and easily. Doesn't get in the way as we now go through towards the bus stop chicane now here. 1.9, nearly 2 seconds up basically on our previous best lap time here. Breaking into the final chicane now, and there we go. Lap done here around Spa. 2 seconds improvement on our previous best lap. That only puts us into P9 though, so not an amazing lap time in terms of the pace side of things, but we've still got some work to do. We've been relegated down to P15, so now we've got one more opportunity here to try and set a faster lap and get a better starting position for the Grand Prix itself here. So into La Source we go. We lose a little bit of time there through the corner itself. We gain a bit of that back though on the exit, and you can see here that we're just about level with our personal best lap as things stand. Operating now the battery down the straight here, you can see that we're around about 0.07 of a second or so off our previous lap time here as we now go up towards the end of the Kemmel Straight, losing a little bit of time here as I've turned off the battery slightly earlier, but again through the Le Com chicane we get it horribly wrong, and in fact a hell of a lot worse, having to downshift there into there, and 0.3 of a second has been thrown out of the window, and all of a sudden now the lap time that we needed to do to improve is a lap time that we're not actually going any faster at here, because there goes Sam, who sets a fastest lap time for 1:39.599. That's quickly beaten by what Charles Leclerc has just done. Again, ignore the names at the top there because that's not all they are. But for us though, we're not even finding an improvement. So while people are actually making improvements on the track, we're not making improvements on the track here, because again now, as we're doing everything we can to try and find some more pace in the car, we're not finding it. We're actually going slower than where we were before now. So again, down the straight here, we'll see if we can try and find anything, but we're half a second down now on our previous best lap time, and there's just not enough pace and not enough time on the track in order to try and make up half a second here, or should I say 0.6 now, because we're losing even more time here. So it's not been a good lap for us, unfortunately. We're down in P16. We are the last car on the track here, so unfortunately it's going to stay P16. We gained some time through the bus stop chicane, about 0.3, but it's not enough. Alright, it is race day for the Belgian Grand Prix, but before we get into it, let's have a look and see how the grid lines up for this race. It is Charles Leclerc on pole position with a 1:39.564, and he takes the top spot for Porsche, and it is a Porsche-Ferrari sandwich with Sam on the front row, 3/100ths off pole with Reese, qualifying in third, 7/100ths shy of pole with Lando Norris, 8/100ths off pole position. George Russell getting himself in the mix though with Ferrari and Porsche. He's only 8/100ths shy and 2/1000ths away from what Norris did. Verstappen starts 6th for Audi ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull car, with Kimi Antonelli doing a decent job in P8 for Mercedes. Carlos Sainz starts in P9 for the second Audi car, with Daniel Ricciardo lining up P10, just 1/1000th of a second clear of Bottas in P11. Oscar Piastri starts 12th for Aston Martin ahead of Liam Lawson, who is 13th for Jaguar. Sergio Perez lines up 14th for Red Bull. Lewis Hamilton is 15th for Mercedes, and then it is myself in P16, 0.8 of a second off a pole. I just didn't get the lap time right, and we suffer for it. Alex Albon starts P17, a second shy of pole position, with Pierre Gasly P18 for Renault, and it's a back row start for the BMW drivers, with Stoffel Vandoorne out-qualifying Oliver Bearman. Right, so we're on the grid here for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix, and as you can see, we've got some more rain arriving for this race. So it's going to make things quite interesting, and it's going to be a very fascinating Grand Prix. And let's get this race underway then. The lights are off and the race is on, and as you can see, it's a decent getaway from us versus Sergio Perez. It's a cracking start though for Alex Albon and the Jaguar, but we'll cut that one and launch it down the inside into La Source. Huge late braking maneuver there, but we're up into 10th place now straight away, gaining 6 places off the start as we make our way down towards Eau Rouge. Let's see if we can try and keep it all in one piece. We just about do that. We get a good run though from the exit of Eau Rouge, and now as we make our way down the Camel Straight here, can we make a move on any of the drivers in front? They're all actually deploying their battery, whereas I'm opting to go against using the battery down this straight. I'm going to wait for the action to basically unfold as we go in towards the Lecombe chicane here. We've got 2 drivers fighting, Antonelli and Verstappen. We're going to go 3 wide through the exit of the Lecombe chicane, but we get the move done. Fantastic driving there to get around the outside of Antonelli and also Verstappen in the Audi. That was so well worked through there, and that could have ended in contact, but managed to get the throttle control on point, and now we can get on with it. But as you can see up front, it looks like Sam is now taking the lead here at the Belgian Grand Prix, as he is now ahead of Charles Leclerc in the Porsche car, while Reese doesn't seem to have had an amazing start. He's got a little bit of a train of cars behind him. As for us, we're just trying to navigate our way through the pack here and see if we can try and make up a couple of places. Through towards Stavilo corner we go, and now we can get on the throttle here, and as you can see, blasting our way down the straight here. This is where we save some of our batteries, so we can try and close up on the pack here as we get in towards the bus stop chicane and potentially have a look at trying to make an overtake. But of course, we need to be sensible about our moves here. We're already up into P8, so what I can't afford to do is just make a clumsy move and, you know, waste all of the potential that we've done here as we make our way now through in towards the chicane here, setting ourselves up now. We get a nice exit off of that one. Sam does the fastest lap of the race to start this Grand Prix off. DRS is now enabled as we make our way down towards turn 1. We've got Verstappen and Norris in front. We're going to send it down the inside of Verstappen and also Lando Norris in towards the first corner. What a double move that was, going in towards the chicane there, as the rain there, you can see on the screens, has already started to fall here in Spa, and as you can see, the DRS is still enabled though. So here comes Charles Leclerc. He lost the lead at the start of the race to Sam. He's going to have to try and get this one back here now, as down the straight they go. Charles Leclerc retakes the lead in the Belgian Grand Prix as the rain starts to fall here in Spa. Meanwhile, Vettel gets his way past Reese, and that is how we start this Grand Prix off. But let's have a look at the race start though and see how everybody got on here. So as you can see, it's a decent start. It was a decent start from us actually. A little bit of wheel spin, but we got a better start than I believe it was Perez, and we were able to just launch it up the inside. If you can get to the inside around Spa, you're basically laughing at that point, and that's exactly what we were able to do, and we could get on with the Grand Prix. And as we make our way towards Eau Rouge, we know exactly what happened after that. But what about everybody else then on the track here? This is on board with Reese and his start to the Grand Prix. It wasn't a good start for him, but the interesting thing for Reese actually is that he was actually able to hold position, because while he didn't get a great start here, going in towards turn 1, he actually kept the position. So fair play to him. Obviously, you know, he obviously defended the position well and cost everybody a lot of time, so they weren't able to pass him. This is on board with Vettel here, who actually had a fantastic start to the Grand Prix, an amazing one. So he gets a decent launch here, but he gets the inside line, just as we saw like myself getting the inside line, and he gets a bit of contact there with George Russell, a little bit scrappy, but ultimately he gets the job done. So for Vettel's case, he's absolutely high flying in this Grand Prix, and he's away. Back on board with the live action. Now, this is Sebastian Vettel, George Russell and Reese all fighting here as they go through Blanchimont, now down in towards the bus stop chicane here. Reese is going to try and go around the outside of Vettel. Vettel does that good well to cover that one off. Russell, though, is now going to try and have a look at Reese here. Round the outside of the chicane they go, down onto the start-finish straight. Sam has the DRS once again on Charles Leclerc. As for Russell, he's got the DRS. Reese also has the DRS, so they're all fighting here to try and fight with each other, and we're directly behind them as Sebastian Vettel now does start to pull away in this Grand Prix, so he can use that to try, I was going to say to try and catch up, but he's not going to use it to pull away. He's got an engine failure up Eau Rouge. Sebastian Vettel is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. He's caused a huge pileup now of cars, and all of a sudden, as Sam and Charles Leclerc fight for position, Sam leads the Belgian Grand Prix, Russell's going to pass Reese, and there's a huge gap now, and we're involved in this as well. Norris trying to get back past us, will fend the position against Lando Norris, but that's a huge nightmare for Sebastian Vettel. He is out, and that hold-up in the Eau Rouge complex has given Sam and Charles Leclerc a big margin now to work with in this race. But lap 4 of the Grand Prix, the rain is falling harder now here at Spa. We're struggling for grip on the track now that's getting wetter, but the others behind me are absolutely fine, and we're under pressure now going down the Kemmel Straight here. Lando Norris is going to go past us, as you can see on the straight here. Antonelli now passes us. We've lost 2 places on the straight, almost 3 there, as Verstappen there tries to have a look at us down the inside in towards the Lecombe chicane, but we cover that one off. But unfortunately for us now, we're down to 7th place, because at the moment, while the others seem to be happy with the grip out there, I'm not. But back on board here at the front of the field now. Here comes Charles Leclerc with the DRS now to overtake Sam and retake the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix for Porsche. Those two are having their own solo fight now up front. There's nobody to compete with them. They're just going to have to do it on their own, which I'm pretty sure they're okay with, because they'd rather not lose a couple of places on the straight here. This is Lando Norris here versus Kimi Antonelli. Down the straight they go. Norris with the DRS here flies past Kimi Antonelli. Kimi, no answer to that one without the DRS here. We'll have some DRS hopefully in the background. There we are. We've still got an Audi car trying to get right behind us, but fortunately we're able to hold that one off as we then go through the Lecombe chicane here, and then again losing some grip now. Back on board here with the 2 Audi cars now. This is Carlos Sainz here having to defend against Verstappen down the straight here. They've both got DRS on each other, and they're slipstreaming me as they go their way down in towards the Lecombe chicane, but fortunately we're able to stay in front of them, and Sainz is also able to stay in front of Verstappen for the time being. Piastri now right behind the pair of them as we now make our way down the straight here towards the end of lap 7. The rain is now falling hard enough that we actually can come in for a set of the intermediate tyres. So that's exactly what we're going to do, because for me, I'm struggling now a lot for pace. You can see in fact there, I couldn't even brake to get into the corner. So the time is right. We're coming into the pits now, and we are going to go and get ourselves a set of the intermediate tyres on, and you can see everyone is just flocking now to come into the pits here. It is time, and unfortunately it is too wet. I was struggling too much for pace. I was really trying to just see if I could execute anything really, but unfortunately as the track got wetter, I was just unable to really extract anything. So it was obviously a necessary change to get us into the pits and onto a set of the inters. Unfortunately though, the stop was very long because everyone is in the pits at the same time trying to get the intermediate tyres on, that we were just held because we just couldn't get out of our box. So annoyingly, we have actually lost some time there, but we'll have to just try and make it up on the track. So we're currently in P10 at the moment, but of course there are still some others that need to make some stops along the way. So it's not all doom and gloom just yet. But as you can see here, down the straight now, can we have a go here at George Russell in front of us? Or we are a little bit too far back, or we have to look behind us here, because here comes Ricciardo in the Renault, trying to have a go for us, down in towards the Lecombe chicane. They've got great straight line speed, and into the chicane we go, and I'm actually getting caught out here by how much grip that I've got, because I just haven't had any grip for the past few laps. So that caught me out going into the chicane, but lap 11 of the Grand Prix here, we're still under pressure from Ricciardo behind, but we kept up with George Russell now as we go, with Valtteri Bottas up the Eau Rouge and Radion we go, down onto the Kemmel Straight here. The man that won in the wet in Portugal last week is under pressure from us this week in the Belgian Grand Prix in the rain, and as we make our way down the Kemmel Straight into the Lecombe chicane, we get the move done on Bottas, and that is us up into, I believe that's 7th now, because there are some other drivers that have pitted. So yes, 7th on the grid, so absolutely perfect. So now as we go on board here with Antonelli and also George, oh, there's a lock up there from Antonelli. That's going to give Norris an opportunity into the bus stop chicane. Goes around the outside of Kimi Antonelli. Lando Norris will be saying, thank you very much, I'll have a piece of that, as we make his way down the straight in towards turn 1. Lando Norris now moves up into 4th place in the Belgian Grand Prix. Antonelli down to 5th. Reese is in 6th and they're trying to fight his way through. Of course, remember, Reese was in 3rd/4th in this Grand Prix, but of course, after pitting for the for these intermediates, he got held in the pits by Charles Leclerc because Leclerc, of course, came in as well. They did box and double stack, but it has cost Reece some time. But here he goes then, on the Kemmel straight. He's got more straight line speed than the Mercedes of Antonelli, and as he goes in towards the Lecombe chicane now, can he make this move stick and get up a position on the track? No, because Antonelli is going to fight this one, and fight it he does, and stays in front of Reece then, in towards the Lecombe chicane. So that's lovely work there from Antonelli. He may have lost out to Norris, but he's going to give it a go on Reece. There's us going super wide through the exit there of Eau Rouge and Ranion. That would have maybe a little bit nervous, but again, the Porsche has more straight line speed than the Mercedes as they go down in towards the chicane then. Reece brakes a little bit later, but again, Antonelli defending hard against Reece, and this is going to keep frustrating him because we're now catching them as we're starting to settle down here in this race. And as you can see, we're now on the back of Reece as we send it down the inside of Reece in towards La Source. Very bold and brave maneuver there. Can we make this move stick and stay in front of Reece? No, we're not. We're going to have to go for it side by side as we go down towards Eau Rouge in the wet weather. Will we stay side by side? Yes, we will. And yes, we take the move on Reece down towards Eau Rouge. But now the slipstream will be coming into Reece's favour as we go down the Kemmel straight once more. The Porsche has got great straight line speed, but we've also got some good straight line speed. Deploying the battery, and the job is done. We've managed to pass our championship rival Reece in the Belgian Grand Prix around the outside of Eau Rouge in the wet conditions. What a brilliant move that was. And now we can focus on Kimi Antonelli, my main first-person POV of the race, which is why you're just seeing the replay cameras only, corrupted halfway through. Shock. So, unfortunately, that's why I'm showing you just the replay cameras and not, you know, my first-person perspective, and then I set myself up. That's why it's on that position. But we get past Kimi Antonelli. We got a great run on Antonelli through Eau Rouge. He then came back at me halfway through the straight, but I was able to brake later and just get past him. So, as you can see, though, we got Verstappen here versus Hamilton. These two have been hurt heavy by the pit stops from the earlier in the race to go on to the inters. That's also Piastri as well. All these guys are fighting outside of the points. They're not in the points at all. So, that's a little bit of a shame. The man that's currently holding the final points paying position is that man there, Alex Albon. He was until Sainz sent a bold move there up around the outside into the bus stop chicane. Now onto the start-finish straight they go. Who's going to come out on top then between Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon? It's going to be nip and tuck between all of these drivers, but down in towards La Source they go, and Sainz is going to get the better exit here versus Albon. So Sainz then does indeed pass him, and he's now up into the points-paying positions, but they've got a big long straight to go, and Albon just has to make sure that he settles into the slipstream and gets this move right here. It's going to be nip and tuck, but he's in the slipstream now. He'll hopefully have some battery left to deploy. Sainz goes defensive to the inside. Here comes Alex Albon around the outside then into the chicane. We've seen normally that this doesn't quite work out, but can Albon make it work? No, he can't. Unfortunately for him, he has to lose out on that battle, and that's going to be disappointing for Jaguar because they would have loved to have had a point in this Grand Prix. Lap 21 to start the final lap now of the Belgian Grand Prix. We have caught up to Lando Norris. He's the last man that we need to get past here. My footage finally worked after this point here, and now we're going to have a run here. Lando Norris, are we going to do what we did with Reece and go side by side through Eau Rouge? Not quite. We're having a look, but Norris gets a good exit. Great straight line speed as we make our way up Eau Rouge now. This will be key in the championship battle to get more points over Reece because he hasn't overtaken Antonelli yet. Now as we go on to the Kemmel straight here, Norris is going to go to the inside line and defend it. We'll go for the outside line and take that one. Brake late into Lecombe. We get Lando Norris, and fourth is ours in the Belgian Grand Prix. What a fight back this has been from 16th on the grid to go up to 4th now in this race. We've definitely been excelling in the wet, but one man that's excelled more than everyone in the wet is this man here, Sam Williams. He is in the lead for Ferrari. He's been fighting hard with Charles Leclerc in the opening phases of this Grand Prix, but now as you can see, he is controlling this Grand Prix. Ever since the pit stop phases, he's been much more competitive than anybody else on the track here. He's got about a 2-second lead there over Charles Leclerc, give or take. But as he goes now through the end of the middle sector here, of course, remember, Sam started this season with Audi. Things just were not going well for him. There was too many issues, pit stops going wrong. getting caught up in different incidents, getting caught up in his own incident back in Australia. Then, obviously, the retirements came into play. He decided enough was enough. Ferrari decided enough was Verstappen as well, and they decided to swap over. And Sam, as he comes towards the start-finish line, very slowly to the start-finish line, will he even win the Belgian Grand Prix? It's close, but he just about wins the Belgian Grand Prix for Ferrari. But that was a lot closer than it should have been there. Sam just crawling over the line. So as he wins, we come across the line to finish in P4 for Aston Martin. It's a great race for us. It's a fantastic race for Sam in the Ferrari. He wins the Belgian Grand Prix by only 0.3 of a second. He definitely was crawling over the line after the race had finished there. I have no idea what happened and why he was crawling over the line, but he just was, and there's no issue that I saw that would have caused it. But yeah, anyway, Sam does go across the line and win the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc, with George Russell claiming the final podium place. So fair play to him, big credit there, and he'll definitely be satisfied with that one. We come across the line to finish in P4. Overall, our race was extremely good. We were very quick in the opening phases of the race to start with. As soon as the rain then started to come in a little bit more, we lost all of our pace. We were way off of it. When the wet weather came in and we were on the inters, struggling a little bit, but then as the rain got heavier and the track got wetter, I just got faster and faster and faster. And I feel like I made a couple of mistakes during the bits of footage that you didn't see because I wasn't overtaking anybody, where I probably maybe could have caught George Russell, but bit of a stretch that one. But I'll take P4. Great result from where we started. Lando Norris finishes in 5th for Ferrari, 11.6 off the win in the end, with Kimi Antonelli actually beating Rees to the checkered flag by just about 0.9 of a second as things stood. Valtteri Bottas finishes 8th for the second McLaren car, with Daniel Ricciardo in P9, and Carlos Sainz claiming the final points paying position for Audi, with Charles Leclerc setting a 1:42.689 for the fastest lap of the race to give him the bonus point. Looking at the second half of the table now, Alex Albon just missed out on the points for Jaguar, with Verstappen finishing in 12th for Audi. He did manage to overtake Sergio Perez right at the end for P12. It meant nothing overall, but obviously Albon, Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Piastri, and also, yeah, just those 5 cars all separated by 0.7 of a second. So they were right in the mix with each other all the way throughout the course of that second stint. Stoffel Van Dorn finishes in 16th for BMW, ahead of Liam Lawson in the second Jaguar car, with Gasly in 18th for Renault. Ollie Behrman finishes in P19, and only Sebastian Vettel was the man that DNF'd from the Grand Prix after things stood. Let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship though and see how things have changed in that area. Well, in terms of the gap at the top of the championship, we have now extended that with 4 races to go. The gap is now 21 points between myself and Rees. Obviously, there's still plenty of racing to go, and the championship is definitely wide open. But when I say it's wide open, it is starting to open up a bit more, though, for the people behind. Because while I managed to outscore Rees this weekend, I wasn't able to outscore George Russell. He's now only 40 points behind in the championship, and sure, that is still quite a lot of points that I need to lose throughout the course of a weekend. But if you think about it, if I'm having a weekend where I'm just not quick enough, then Ferrari will be quicker than me. Porsche are super quick. McLaren have been quick. Audi have had weekends where they've been quick. There is still a lot of points that can be gained and lost for anyone in this championship. And that also goes for Sam as well. Like I said, he has been in the dumps for pretty much all season long. But since coming to Ferrari, he has transformed his performances and his race pace. And again, it's a big ask because Sam, in order to win the championship, would have to outscore Rees by 30 points in the remaining 4 races and have me DNF from 2 races, or not score points in him to win them. But at the moment, Sam is doing what he needs to do. He's consistently outscoring me, and as you can see, he's 51 points off in the championship. Anything can go, and right now I would say you could probably count all the top 4 in a championship battle, because Charles Leclerc is 5th in the championship, 78 points back, with Lando Norris in 6th 79 points back. Charles Leclerc, of course, not scoring points in the last few races, but he's hit back with a podium here today. And while there is still 104 points up for grabs, obviously, I mean, anyone in the top 9 is still mathematically in the championship. You've got to be realistic going into the final 4 races. Carlos Sainz is 7th for Audi on 108 points, ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who's moved up to 8th in the championship for McLaren, with Vettel down to 9th for Red Bull. Max Verstappen stays in P10 in the championship on 79 points, with the next event being the F1 Journey Canadian Grand Prix. And now looking at the Constructors' Championship, and as you can see, Porsche are still top of the championship, and to extend their lead actually by a couple of points, they've now got a 40-point gap at the top of the championship versus McLaren, who are on 243 points. But the big movers in this weekend is Ferrari. With their victory and P5 for Lando Norris, they have now gone in front of us and also Audi. So Audi are down to P5 and we are down to P4. Ferrari on 240 points, only 3 points now behind McLaren, with us in the Aston Martin on 225 points and Audi on 209 points. Red Bull are on 110 points with Mercedes on 87. Renault have got 25 points to their name, so a couple of points in the bag for them. And obviously Jaguar are on 14 points with BMW still yet to score. But that is it for the F1 race here in Belgium. Let's go and have a look at the post-race notebook and see what the teams and drivers had to say after the Belgian Grand Prix. Turning our attention now to the post-race notebook, and Sam gets his second win of the season with Ferrari here at Spa, with Charles Leclerc just missing out on P1, with George Russell getting P3 for McLaren. Speaking of Leclerc just missing out on P1, Sam was left worried after a PU issue happened right at the very end of the Grand Prix. Sam led Leclerc comfortably throughout the final lap, but as he exited the bus stop chicane, he put the foot flat to the floor and no power was coming from the car, and Leclerc nearly stole the win away from him. Ferrari are yet to uncover what caused the PU issue, but ultimately it led to no damage as Sam managed to win anyway, leaving him just 51 points off of Tom at the top of the championship. And with that being said, Tom has understood that he needs to focus not only on Reese in the remainder of the season for the battle for the championship. While Reese is his closest contender, 21 points behind in the championship, George Russell is only 40 points off and Sam is 51 points behind. With 4 races remaining and 104 points up for grabs, any of these drivers are definitely within contention. And finally, Kimi Antonelli was very proud of his weekend here at Spa. He had a solid race weekend with a great qualifying session and a good race, fighting with the likes of Tom, Norris and Reese, and battling hard to defend against the Porsche driver to the end of the Grand Prix. But that is it for the Belgian Grand Prix and for the European leg of this F1 Journey season. We're now going to be taking ourselves over to the Americas for the final stage of this Formula 1 season. If you guys have enjoyed the video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well, as the next event is the Canadian Grand Prix. Hopefully, I see you all there. Take care all, thanks for watching,